Go ahead and let everybody in. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're just going to give everybody a few minutes to hop in and then we'll get started. So it looks like we're starting to level off. So we'll go ahead and get going here. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining today. This is our Introducing Our Plans and Specs Experience webinar. So we're going to be overviewing a brand new update to the Plans and Specs feature in RedTeam Flex that should be coming out for beta testing here for you in the next couple of weeks. My name is Sarah Nyheisel. I am our Senior Enablement Manager. I will be giving the presentation today. We've got Nathan Waite with us. He's one of our implementation managers who will be here to help kind of manage the Q&A and answer any questions that you may have. But let's give our obligatory "Are you in the right room" slide here. I always just like to start this because we do have a couple of products, right? So if you are a user of RedTeam Go, unfortunately, today's webinar is not for you. We're going over a new RedTeam Flex feature today. So that's our most configurable construction management product, excuse me. So hopefully that's the one you're familiar with. That's what we'll be seeing today. Our agenda for today, we're going to talk a little bit about what our new grid experience is. Hopefully you've all seen a bit of that with our new projects menu that is in beta testing right now. We'll talk about how that's going to make your life easier, how you can customize your views with our new menus, uploading plans, as well as some changes to specifications and addendums. And then we'll save some time at the end for Q&A. And we are going to be bouncing back and forth today a bit between slides and a live demonstration. So that's why I've got my tabs up here. We will kind of bounce back and forth per slide. I should also mention before we get going, we do have the chat feature disabled. So if you have any questions at all, use that Q&A feature. Drop those in there. Nathan can either answer those for you via chat or he can bring those up to me and we will answer them as we go. But we'll definitely have time at the end too. So what is the new grid experience? Hopefully you've seen a bit of this with our new projects menu. If you have not clicked the try the new experience button for the new projects menu, I absolutely recommend you do that today. It's really life-changing. You're going to find our new grid experience is making things a lot easier in terms of standardizing. One, this is going to be the new standard template for all new menus across Flex. So you're going to see this slowly rolling out throughout our various feature updates. And B, it's going to add efficiency to your day because it can customize your views. You're going to see it's much easier to interact with. It's much easier to customize and share a view with your teams so that you can all be on the same page looking at your data in the way that makes the most sense for you. So let's go take a look at how to opt in. I'm going to switch over here to a RedTeam Flex database. This is our training database. And you can see I'm already navigated into the plans and specs menu for a given project. Now, this is the old experience. What you're going to see, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we're looking at mid-May for opting into this experience, is you're going to start seeing a button up here. Now, we will notify you. There's going to be emails coming out to your admins. There's going to be a banner along the bottom of your database as you log in to let you know when we go live with what we're calling our opt-in beta for this. Once that happens, you're going to see this try new experience button. You can go ahead and click, and it's going to load the new experience for you on this project only. So you can try it out on a sample project first if you prefer, or one or two projects to get comfortable with it. Once you shift, if you feel the need to move back during the beta period, you're going to be able to move back to the legacy view at any time. And you can see here on this project, I uploaded all of these plans with the new experience. If I do shift back, they're going to stay there. We are going to ask for your feedback. So we would love to have you let us know if you're opting back to legacy. We assume there's something back there that you liked that you're not seeing here. So please let us know, hey, what do you think of it? And how could we make it better? You're also going to have that ability while you're in the new view. So I'll show you that in a moment. But you can see my plans stick with me, even if I revert back. And as I come back here to the new experience, we do have a feedback option up here as well. So you're going to be able to tell us what you like, what you don't like, even if you are continuing to use it. But you can see this is going to mirror that new projects menu in your ability to customize, which we're going to get to here in a moment. But we really just hope that this is going to be a more user-friendly menu. It should be fairly intuitive for you. If it's not, we want your feedback, right? If you look at this and you think, man, I really need a dedicated training to learn how to use it, that is not our goal. We want your feedback to understand what doesn't feel easy to use. But speaking of customization, let's look at some of the big ticket items in terms of how you can customize. This is going to be a much easier, more customizable menu in a few ways. One, you've got a table view, which is that typical list view that you're used to, but you've also got a thumbnail view now. So if you are much more comfortable with being able to see thumbnails of your plans, you can do that. You're going to toggle back and forth between table and grid. You're going to be able to select exactly the columns you want. So you'll be able to toggle on and off columns that matter to you and pin those columns. So if I want to freeze them on the left-hand side, I can do that. We can drag and drop them to put them in a priority order, see what we want in a left to right format. We can sort ascending or descending in any column, and we can filter every single column now. So we're going to have the ability to independently filter each column and create a custom filter effect. Even better, as we create a custom effect, we can save that view and we can share it with our team. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. And then grouping and status filters, these are going to be some easy drop downs for people who say, I don't really want to build a custom view. It's going to be very easy to group your sheets by discipline, status, author, or version. And you're going to have the ability to toggle quickly between my confirmed or committed files and those that need review or are what you'd think of now as in a draft status. So let's go take a look at those. If we go back over to this view, I'm in the plans tab right now. We are going to talk about addendums and specs, but you can see here, I've got the table and grid view. So if I switch, and I think they changed the name here to card view, so I can toggle back and forth. Very easy to see these thumbnails if that's a view that I prefer. We can toggle back over. We've got views here, which we're going to talk about. You've got a typical all plans. This is where it's going to start you, but you're also going to have the ability to set custom views, which I'll show you how to save in a moment. Groupings. There's our ability to group by discipline, status, author, or version. So we're going to go with version because I think I've got a couple versions in here. You can see I've now got version headings, and I can really quickly and easily collapse and expand those groups. So that's what we mean by grouping. There's our columns. Really easy now to come in here and turn on and off particular columns. I can rearrange them in here by dragging and dropping or out on the list view itself. We can pin columns. So we auto pin the name and number for you. But if I want the discipline pinned, I simply select it and then I can rearrange within my pinned items as well. All of that's going to update as I close this out. And you can see now the benefit to pinning is that if I needed to scroll horizontally to see more data, if I had more columns turned on and my screen resolution didn't allow me to see them all, pinning is freezing all these columns in gray here. So as I scroll over, those will stay and I will simply scroll the columns in white. We can look at filters here, but we're going to set our filters on each individual column here. So if I want to come to discipline, I can then pick from a list of disciplines or search. So I know I've got all architectural here. We can go ahead and search for architectural if we want, select or deselect all, and apply. And you can see here, as I'm creating all these filters and columns and customizations, I'm getting a save view option right here. I can do the same in here, but we're making it really obvious for you that you've created a custom view. And if you want to save that, you can. Let's talk about a last couple of options here, right? Density. We can choose. Again, this is familiar if you've used the new projects menu. I can choose to spread things out or kind of make things a little more compact if I prefer to see a lot of data in a small amount of space. We can always export what we're seeing to CSV, Excel, or PDF. So that functionality remains. And then we'll look at uploading. This is where I upload my sets or sheets. We'll look at that in just a moment. But let's look at how we save this view. I've created my custom view and I like this. I can go ahead and hit save. I can now enter a name. I can describe it if I want to describe how I filtered it or what things are showing or not, what I'm using it for. And then I can actually set this as default. If I want this to be my default view, great. I can check the box. Now, every time I come in here, that's my default view. And I can come in here. You see the little star lets me know this is my default. We can come in and toggle between them. And I have the ability to share this with my team. So I can rename it at any time, update it with current. If I made changes here, I can save those to make this view updated. Or I can share with my team, which is going to be really helpful because I can come in here and say, everyone in my company should be able to see this view when they go to the plans and specs page on any project using the new experience. Or I can say just specific people. I want all my PMs to have this view. Let's go ahead and search for them by email or name. And it's going to allow me to pick up on any employee contacts here within my database, and I can share with them. So these carry over project to project. So any project that's using the new experience, you will see all those saved views that are either yours or have been shared with you. And again, you can set your defaults. So you can come in and edit that and choose to set that as your default if you'd like. So looking at customizations, any questions at the moment? Let me check our Q&A just to make sure. We looking okay, Nathan? Good for now? Okay, perfect.
Yep, we're good.
Awesome, thank you. So let's then talk about functionality in terms of uploading. Uploading plans, the basic functionality remains the same. You're not going to see a lot of overwhelming changes here, but we hope that it's going to be easier and faster to upload and review these items. So you'll simply drag and drop items into a flyout window. As they upload, you'll get a button to go ahead and review them. And as you review them, you're going to be able to confirm. We're switching that language from committed to confirm, either individually or in bulk. But what you're going to see is we've solved a lot of those issues where you had pagination and you needed to flip through page after page of 10 sheets. That's going to be much easier here. You're going to be able to rescan one sheet or all sheets using our OCR. So you'll see that rescan button up here in the image. And we can exclude unnecessary sheets. So if you upload an entire file, you can say exclude for now. You're going to see that option as well. So let's go take a look at that. If we come in here and we hit upload sets or sheets, we're simply going to either drag or drop or choose a PDF. So we're going to come in here and grab a sample file just so you can see that. Now, we have recommended that the PDF be flattened. So it reads best with the OCR if it is flattened. So you'll see that instruction in there. As it's working, I don't need to keep the flyout open. Same as before, I can simply move on with my day and I can come back when it's time to review. You can see here I've got 5 sheets to review. I can click in and there they are. I'm going to review them. I can see these other 2 have been completed and they are confirmed. Now, another way I can do that is we can come over here and we can choose to view our draft items. So you can see I'm viewing confirmed items. We could go to all, or we could filter that to see items by status and see just draft, right? So if I wanted to save a view for just draft items, I can, and then I can click this pencil here to edit. So you've got these easy action buttons: view, download, confirm, which is what you're used to, that term commit. Same idea here, or we can edit, and that's going to allow us to come in and review these from here as well. When we're ready to review, we can simply come in and click, and we're going to get a screen here that's showing us a preview of the file on the right-hand side, much bigger than those thumbnails that you're used to with the legacy experience. You're going to get basic details for the selected sheet that you're viewing right now. And then on the left, you've got a full list of all your items. And again, you're not going to have to page over. This is going to be a full scrollable list of every sheet you uploaded. So if it's 400 files, totally fine. What I can do is scan through and say, yeah, those names and numbers look correct. I'm confident that it has picked these up correctly with the OCR. I can grab all sheets and confirm them all right now. Or I can flip through. If I see some that look concerning, I could select all and say, no, that one doesn't look right. Let me review that individually, and I can confirm groups. As we come through each one, we can double check and make manual changes to sheet names, numbers, or discipline. And then you're going to find this create an addendum. We'll talk about this in a moment, but it is going to auto recognize I already have A6. It's going to go ahead and create me an addendum unless I change this number. So we are automatically recognizing those superseding documents. You're not going to have to go into the addendums tab and manually create an addendum to slip sheet or do anything like that. You just go ahead and upload your files and we're going to recognize that for you. Now, if I needed to rescan, this feature's had a little bit of an update too. We simply can click rescan here and say either just this sheet or all unconfirmed sheets. Remember, unconfirmed means draft. Anything that's here ready for review would be an unconfirmed sheet. If I have already confirmed it, we're going to see a little check mark next to it. So if we go ahead and confirm this one, and then we'll rescan the rest. Oops, let's try that again. If we confirm one, it should allow us to confirm the others. Well, that's nice. This is why it's not out for everybody yet, right? We're in the final stages of QA testing. So it may be that it's encountering a little bug this morning. But what we should see is a checkbox there that's letting us know this has been confirmed. This would gray out, and then we'd have the ability to rescan the remaining sheets. If we look at rescanning, we've got sheet name and sheet number here. It's basically giving you boxes. So if our OCR did not scan the right place, we can come in here and tell it where to look. So I'm going to say sheet number should be down here. I'll make that nice and small right over my A6 so we don't pick up anything else. And that allows me to rescan there. And then I can come to sheet name and tell it where to look. We can rotate. So if I want it to look along the side here, I could do that and say I'd like to pick it up right here. Once we're ready, we start rescan. It's going to rescan all of them. And again, we don't have to stay in here. We can return to plans, let it do its thing. And then if we're happy with that, we can confirm all or review again as needed. So these will stay here. We can come back and review them. You can see that 11, right? I now have 11 items. And we can clear our filters here and view all of our files if we want. So that's our uploading of new plans. Like I said, I don't think you'll see a major change there in functionality. It's mostly a visual change that we're trying to make it a little easier to handle and easier to review. But the ability to upload and the OCR itself remain the same. So like I said, don't be intimidated by the major view changes. It's really the same processes that you're used to, just hopefully a little more user-friendly. Looking at markups. Those are going to, again, look a little bit different, but function mostly the same. We're going to be able to click on a file name or number to access those same markup tools. The difference here is that you are going to be automatically engaged in making redline markups. Now that's permissions dependent, of course, but if you have permissions to make redline markups, you'll be able to come in and just make those and hit save. Then you can see this create RFI button is going to allow me to do what we've previously called markup and attach, where I can choose to make markups and link those directly to an RFI rather than saving them as a new version of the sheet. We can also download the original file at any time right from the markup screen. So let's take a look at that. We can come into any of these, and I'm going to look at one of my confirmed sheets. Right here, as we click on the name or number, we're opening up, and you can see this one has multiple versions, so I actually do still have that comparison, that overlay comparison as well available. But these are the same markup tools you're used to. You've got drawing and highlighting, images, stamps, hyperlinks, notes and text, and lines here that we can put in. So we can create any of these however we want, and then you have the ability, if I save, I'm saving those as a redline markup. This is now a permanent part of the file. If I create an RFI, I'm able to link that to an RFI through the dialog tab, and I can go ahead and send that out, but this will not appear for everyone viewing the document. And then again, remember, you can download the original at any time. We can move backwards here. It's going to ask me if I want to save changes. So just reminding me that I haven't. And then let's see here. I think that's it for markup. So we want to move back on to our specs and addendums. And this is probably the biggest visual change is that you are used to seeing your specifications in line with your plans. We heard your feedback loud and clear that you don't like those being jumbled together. So we've created separate tabs. Same with addendums. It's going to live in its own tab. But the difference here is now specifications are by nature not going to be split. You notice when I upload the plans, it's not asking me, do I want to split sheets or do I want to keep them together? We recognize that if you're uploading plans, you want those to be split into individual pages. If you're uploading a spec book, you want that to stay as a single file. We would still advise that if you want that spec book split by sections, you would split the sections ahead of time and then upload each section as a single file. And then addendums, the major change here is that you don't need to go to the addendums page and manually create an addendum. You're simply going to upload those new files and we're going to automatically create addendums or internal change orders for you as appropriate. Meaning if I'm in the request stage, I am creating, it's automatically creating addendums for me. If I am in proposal or in progress, it is going to automatically create an internal change order for me because the original scope of work has been locked or confirmed. So let's go take a look at those. Again, these three tabs up here are a pretty big difference for you. You've got plans, addendums. Addendums are largely informational right now, so we've got the ability to see what addendums have been created as items have been superseded. So I can see here a file that I uploaded. It's version 3, so this is the third A4 that I've uploaded. I can download that file here if I want, but otherwise I'm just seeing that these addendums are being created. And if I want to view those changes, I can come back here and look at A4 and use my overlay comparison. You'll notice I'm not seeing multiple versions of A4 in here. I'm just seeing version 3. And if I want to view the older versions, I click into the preview and or markup function, and I use that overlay comparison to look back on older copies. So we are working hard to protect you from anybody accessing or using an old copy. And then specs over here, this is a totally new tab. You have the ability to just come in here and upload specs. Same grid type format, right? You've still got the filter and the sort by column. We can still create and save views. These are going to be different than your plans views. So if you want to create some custom views for how you like to see your specs tab, go ahead and do so. Share those with your team, and it's easy to come in here and see it the way you want to see it. But in terms of upload, let's take a look at this one. Much simpler. We're just choosing a file, and as we choose a file, it is just naming that based on the PDF file name. So no OCR here, no splitting of pages. We're just bringing it in, and we're not going to ask you to review anything. You can come in here, and these draft items, we can edit information to make sure we're changing name, author, date, or version. And then we can leave some notes for ourselves if we want. Once we've made any changes like that, we can go ahead and commit. Our commit here is going to let us know if we want to supersede, we can, right? It's recognizing that we could supersede other spec documents that are in here. And if we'd like to, we can create an addendum. If I pick something to supersede, it's going to automatically create an addendum for me. So we'll go ahead and commit that. But other than that, not a lot of complexity here to the specs side of things. We're just splitting that out to make it a lot easier for you to see. The last thing I think I want to go over here before we go look at change orders is just some settings on your grid view, which is up here. No matter what tab you're in, you're getting that new grid experience, right? And there's some settings associated with that you may want to pay attention to. So up here, you have the ability to decide how much it's going to remember about what you've done to create your views and how much it should forget. We've got show minimal action menu for one. This is this action menu right over here. If I don't like how much space this takes up, I can toggle that on and I'm going to get a little ellipses instead, right? If you like the more icon, You've got those same buttons right there. But more importantly, you've got remember view mode, which is essentially an auto save, right? Remember your preferred mode, table or grid. Do you like thumbnails or do you like the list? You can go ahead and determine if it should remember that or start you at the list view every time. Auto save my changes between visits. So if I make changes and I don't save that to my new view, should it save those for me? And then retain table state. So this is going to let me know, I can get more specific. Are there certain things I want it to remember, things I want it to forget? Got a lot of capability here. And you can always just reset to our default settings. So lots that you can do with this. Really what we're hoping for is that in the viewing and reviewing of documents, it is a lot easier to work with. The functionality that you're used to remains largely the same. We just hope it's a lot easier to interact with. We wanted to look at change orders. Before I wrap up here, let's go back and take a look at if we are in proposal or in progress, we're not going to get addendums. Remember, the addendums feature is disabled once we commit the scope of work. So in that case, you'll see I've made an update here to A4 while I was in progress. So this is actually going to create a potential internal change for me automatically. We're looking to save you time and effort there. All you would need to do would be to come in here and commit and authorize. You do have the ability to come in and edit. If this plan change involves any costs or any other changes to your project, you do have the ability to walk through all the standard steps. But if you've been in training with me, you remember that typically a plan update that doesn't come with any cost impact, you only need step 1 and step 3 anyway. So now I'm uploading those plans in the traditional plans and specs menu. It's creating the change for me. I can come in here and view them. The files will be in here as well. But if I don't need any cost estimating or changes to the SOV, I don't need owner approval, I no longer need to handle any of these steps. I don't even need to open it up. I can simply come in and commit and authorize that to make sure that I have an internal change on file reflecting that updated plan after the original scope was committed. So I think that's all there is to it, guys, in terms of new functionality. I'm happy to go over questions, but my last slide here before we do is I want to remind you not to forget the opt-in period, right? So right now we are in what's called an invite-only beta, and that means that we have a small selection of clients for whom we've turned this on and they can click the Try New Experience button. If you're not in that pool and you'd like to be, feel free to reach out to your CSM. We're happy to include you in the invite-only beta. Right now, what we're doing is we're collecting feedback from those invited beta testers, and we're busy implementing their feedback before we bring you guys the open or opt-in beta, which should be mid-May. Every client is going to start seeing this Try New Experience, and you can go ahead and test it out. But if you'd really like to get your hands on it sooner, definitely reach out and let us know. And certainly, as you get the chance to try it, if you find you have any need to revert to the legacy experience, we want to know why. We want your feedback so that we can make this the best experience for you possible before we move into a spot where this is your normal plans and specs and we sunset that legacy experience. Okay, so that is everything I have for you. Looking at questions, Madeline, I see she's asking if there's a way to download plans into one PDF instead of a zip file. That I would have to double check. Let's come back and find out. Go back to our plans and specs. So I think we have a checkbox here where we can download. No, it looks like download one file at a time is going to give us an individual PDF for these sheets. I will check with our team, Madeline, though, and see if there's a way to get a single PDF. You could probably, let's see if we can come back in here and view. I can view the whole file. I can open the original here and I might be able to download from there. Yeah, I think that would be your best bet, is you'd have the ability to come in and view any files and you could open that original and download. Otherwise, I think if you've made red line markups or something like that, you're probably going to want to come in here and download that individual sheet. Um, Let me know if that answers your question, or if you have more concerns. We would love to hear feedback on that if that's not working the way that you're looking for. But if there's any other questions, guys, I'm happy to hang around for a few minutes. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to your CSMs. If you have any questions about this before it comes out, we can certainly get those answered for you. But thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we hope you're excited to try it out here in the next couple of weeks. All right. Thanks, everyone. Not seeing any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Everybody have a good rest of the day.